A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. What does quantity mean? What does quantity mean? It's a science word. Morgan, what does quantity mean?
Basically, it's how much of something you have.
Yeah, two numbers. A comparison of two quantities or two numbers. There are three ways to write ratios. One way of writing them, if I wanted to say I had 3 apples for $5. That's one way. What's that called? 3 apples over $5.
Fraction.
You can write it as a fraction. You could also write it with the word 2. 3 apples to $5. Or you can write it with a colon. It doesn't have to have labels. It should, because you're measuring two different things, right? So you should have labels. But sometimes they don't have labels. It's a 3 to 5 ratio. A ratio is a comparison. I guess we can take let's take the labels parts out. I got ahead of myself. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. So 3 over 5. 3 to 5. Or 3 colon 5. A ratio is a comparison of two separate numbers. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers. It's coming back. Hold on. You erase the labels. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. 3 to 5, 3 over 5, 3 colon 5. A rate is a comparison of two quantities with different labels. So like an example of a ratio would be, how many red shirts to blue shirts. They're both shirts, right? So the ratio of shirts to shirts is 3 to 5. A rate is a comparison of two different quantities with different labels. So it's not shirts compared to shirts, it's right, shirts to pants, or right, it's different labels. I mean, it could be anything from boys to girls. You have 3 movies for $14.99. It's comparing movies to money. You are driving your car at 65 miles per hour. That's a rate. The temperature dropped 4 degrees in 30 minutes. Different labels. A ratio is a comparison of quantities, 3 to 5. But the rate, making it a rate, involves adding the labels to it. Now, a ratio, by definition, most of the time does have different labels. For example, if you are into engines, right? Car engines, bike engines, whatever. My lawnmower, when I put gas in it, has to take a ratio of gasoline and oil. So I have to figure out, I have to measure it when I fill up my lawnmower, right? So ratios are out there all over the place. Rates are really everywhere. If you like shopping, rates are what you want to pay attention to. 6th grade, you should have learned this term. 6th grade, you should have learned the term unit rate. Kate, stop. I didn't ask specifically who didn't learn it. I said in 6th grade you should have. I guarantee we start talking about it, you're going to remember it. So instead of interrupting our class, see if you remember how to do it. Cameron, come sit right here next to me, please. A unit rate is a ratio, or it's a rate. It can have the same label or it can have different labels. That has a denominator of 1. A unit rate. A unit rate is a ratio or rate that has a denominator of 1. Where's the denominator? On bottom, correct. Oh. So looking at these rates up here, 3 movies for $14.99, 65 miles for 1 hour, or 4 degrees for 30 minutes. Which one's a unit rate? Olivia?
5 miles.
Yeah, this is my unit rate, 65 miles per 1 hour, because the denominator is 1. But we can easily make a unit rate or a rate into a unit rate. To convert, what does the word convert mean? To change. A rate to a unit rate. To convert a rate to a unit rate. You take the numerator and divide by the denominator. Then put it over 1. To convert a rate to a unit rate, do numerator divided by denominator and put it over 1.
What did you mean by put it over?
I bet I'll show you. All right, so here's an example. Max made $17.50 for 2 hours. Max made $17.50 for 2 hours. I want to make it a unit rate. So what am I going to do to make it a unit rate, $17.50 in 2 hours. What am I going to do to make it a unit rate, Autumn? Perfect. $17.50 divided by 2. $17.50 divided by 2. So what did he make? $8.75, right? Over 1. Numerator divided by denominator, $8.75. Put it over 1. So it's not $1, it's 1 what? Hour.
1 hour.
There's my unit rate. When I go to the grocery store and I'm, buying Halloween candy, right? I had to buy Halloween candy for today. I found unit rate. I looked at the back of the bag of candy to see how many pieces of candy were in the bag. So if there's, let's say the bag was $14.95. Halloween candy is expensive. And there were 47 pieces.
Jesus. I know it's expensive.
That's expensive.
Right? I think I pay, that's a lie. Ours had 90 pieces in it, I think. I bought Airheads online.
I have to go buy your house.
That's my favorite.
But I want to know, is that a good deal? Maybe this place has $14.95 for 47 pieces, but another place has $22 for 90 pieces. Which one's a better deal? I have to find the unit rate. So again, I'm going to take my numerator, $14.95, divided by 47 pieces. How much is it per piece? Okay, stop. 0.318. Stop. How many cents do you pay? 2 cents, right? So is it 31 cents or 32 cents? 32 cents. So it's 32 cents for 1 piece. Can you tell me if there was a second box that I was thinking about buying that was $22 for 90 pieces? Which one's a better deal? The 22 for 90 pieces or the $14.95 for 47 pieces? How do you know which one's a better deal? Well, the $14.95 for 47 pieces was 32 cents for 1 piece. My unit rate is 32 over 1. Let's check the unit rate for $22 for 90. Other way, Max. 22 divided by 90 is 24 cents. So which one's a better deal? 22. If I'm going to use all 90. What if I'm not going to use all 90?
Then you eat the rest.
Well, I probably would. Morgan.
Another way to tell is 47 is a little over half of 90, but 14.95 is way over half of 22.
It's a good question or a good statement. Morgan said 47 is a little bit more than half of 90, right? Because half of 90 is 45. But $14.95 is almost $15, right? And that's way more than half of $22. Half of it. All right, next part. For the most part, the unit rate isn't that confusing to us. It makes sense. Like there's a rule, we can follow it, and it's okay. Converting rates is where it gets difficult. John, you need to sit up, please. All the way up, please. Thank you. So converting rates is a little bit more difficult. Gabe, what's your question?
I said that you would eat them. What would you do? What were you gonna say?
I said that's probably right. I mean, if it's something that you can eat, right? If it's hamburger patties, I'm probably not going to eat all 90 hamburger patties before they go bad, right?
If it was chicken, bring them to school.
Okay, so converting rates. You have to be aware of labels. You have to be aware of labels. I'm going to change that from a 1 to a star. Be aware of labels. The first step you do is to work on changing the numerator. After you change the numerator, you need to work on changing the denominator. Number 3 is multiply across. And number 4 is simplify. All right, we're going to go on to page 25 because I don't want to run out of room and cram it. Okay?
Wait, I need to look.
Okay, so here we go. Ratio and unit rate, page 25. We're going to just do some examples over here. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to say 720 meters in 1 day. Multiply across. There's a rate, correct? Because it has 2 different labels. It has meters and it has days. Is it a unit rate?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a unit rate. How do you know it's a unit rate? John, sit up, please. You know it's a rate because it has 2 different labels. How do you know it's a unit rate, Olivia?
Because the denominator is 1.
Because the denominator is 1. I want to change it to meters per minute. Meters per minute. What's my numerator's label going to be in my answer? Meters per minute. Which one's going to go on top? Meters. And what's going to be my denominator? Minute. So if I look at 720 meters in 1 day, am I going to have to change my numerator? I am?
Yes.
Okay, what do I have to change meters to?
Meters per minute.
Well, yeah, but my label in my numerator is meters. What am I changing it to?
Nothing. You don't change it.
Nothing. So do I have to change my numerator? No, but do I have to change days?
Yeah.
Yes. And here's how we do it, and it's kind of confusing, so I want you to pay attention. I want my days opposite each other. I know that one day is how long? What do you know about one day?
60 minutes or 24 hours.
24 hours.
It's 1,440 minutes.
I know that one day is 24 hours. And look, my days, since they're across from each other, cancel out. My days, because they're across from each other, cancel out. All right, so now I have hours as my denominator. Is that what I wanted?
No.
No, I need what?
Minutes.
Minutes. So I want hours to be across from hours. I want them to be diagonal, right? What do you know about 1 hour? It's 60 minutes. I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And if you look, my hours are across from each other, so now they cancel out. Ladies, please stop talking and pay attention. So here we go. I have meters on top. Meters is my answer. And I have minutes in my denominator, which is what I wanted. So let's multiply. 720 times 1 is 720 meters over 1 times 24 times 60 is, you gotta use a calculator. 1 times
440. He's lying.
So I did it. I changed my numerator. Well, I didn't need to change my numerator. My numerator stayed minutes. And I changed my denominator from days to minutes. Then I multiply across. 720 times 1 and 1 times 24 times 60. But I'm still not finished. Simplify. So in your calculator, because calculators are great and they'll do it for you, you can type 720 over 1,440, 60 seconds. Is that my answer?
No.
I mean, it could be, but we have to what? Simplify. So I again would type it in your calculator. 384 over 60.
Yeah, I got 32.
32 over 5. 32 what? Inches. In what?
5 seconds.
The hardest part about conversions is that you have to write it out. You need to put your labels opposite each other so they cancel out. If the label is in the numerator, its buddy has to go in the denominator so they cancel out.